All right, YouTube. Repo Man 64. I haven't used this program in a minute, so I'm not quite sure about why I don't have a camera. Or maybe I'm supposed to do this. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can see it on my phone just yet. You have to give me a second here while I figure this out. If I'm live or not, let's see here. All right, there we go. I don't need that anymore. I don't need that. I need this. No, I don't need Zoom. Ew, hit the wrong button. Close that. Close that. Hit this. I think I'm live, but I'm not 100% sure yet. It's not showing up on my phone just yet. So let me see here. If I am live or not. Let's see here, my channel. Yep, I'm live. Yes, 87 people watching. Okay, let's see here. Sorry about this. Give me a second until I can figure out how this all works. It says I started 2 minutes ago. That's not working. There we go. Let's hit that. Sorry about this. Give me a second until I can figure out how this. Turn the audio down. Get to the live. All right. Can everybody hear me? Hi, North Seattle. How you doing? I am live. Yes, I am. I'm gonna wait a few minutes until. Let me turn on the camera so you can see me. Not that that's important. I wonder if I can make that smaller and set it to the side like it does over in the other program. All right, that's a small, let's see here, maybe it'll go a little bit more. Nope, not much more. That's not allowing me to move it at all. Oh, there it goes. All right, is that better? Sorry about this. I am not tech savvy at all. Let's see here. This won't let me enlarge for some reason. Okay. All right. So I made a video. You all saw it this morning, and I'm frozen for some reason. On my side, it looks frozen. I'm not quite sure why. Can everybody see me? Yeah, I'm moving over there. That's weird. Hey, Brett. You guys can hear. Can you guys see? Because on my screen, let me go out and come back in. YouTube's such a nightmare, I swear. These people trying to figure it out. Give me a second. Work with me here for a minute. All right. I'm over here messing with my phone so that I can see what's going on. Let's see here. Me, and I'm live. Okay. There we go. Hold on a second. Let me turn the fan because the little bugs are flying around. All right. All righty. So I made a video this morning. Hey, David, how you doing? Yes, talk amongst yourself. I made a video this morning that had no audio again. I attempted to come out here really quick before I went to work on my phone. Hey, Sister Sandy, and make a video. And as you can see, as usual, um, it didn't record audio. But of course, on my end, it has audio. So I'm going to play that for you so you can hear the video, and then during this, I did this as a live today because I wanted to be more interactive with everybody. I think that we might have found something huge with the help of all my brothers and sisters out here and all the input with numbers and different things that we all see. It's quite a community that we have here. It's amazing. You have no idea. I look so much forward to eternity with all of you once we get to heaven. When are we going? Boy, would I love to just give you a date. Man, I would just love to give you a date and say, this is it. This is when it's going to happen. But um, as it is, we can't quite do that. Not until we see something extremely unique. I did see CJ Lovick's latest. I have all the dates for the Noah flood on the timeline. There's 11 of them. When Sister Sandy built the timeline, she circled them. They're yellow and they have a number of sequence, and they are accurate. Forget about the Gregorian date. As far as the Hebrew date, they're straight on accurate. There's no wiggle room in it at all. So yeah, Brad, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be. We've looked so forward to this moment that we're looking forward. It's and when it finally happens, wow, wow, wow. You know, in the video, and I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on what I said in the video. I didn't really go into detail, and there's a lot of people hurting right now. There's a lot of people that are in pain, and bad things are happening. And some of them I see are beginning to question why. And I'll tell you why. And it's real simple. And Dr. Barry touched on it. We have to give Dr. Barry a little leeway. He is in the middle of a crisis, a hurricane. He's helping so many people out there, and he thought of us enough to bring us a video during all of what he's doing. And my hat's off to him. His latest video, I've gotten a couple of comments and heard a couple of things that people have said. And if you listen closely to Dr. Barry's video, he clearly says that God is ultimately in control. God is ultimately in control. So you're hurting, right? You're hurting. Terrible things are happening to you. Some people are beginning to question, why are these things happening to me? This isn't fair. I'm doing everything God told me to do. God's proud of you. Think about that for a second. God's proud of you. And what do I mean by that? God's proud of you. When God was sitting in heaven, he was so proud of Job, and the devil came, Satan came. Lucifer shows up and he says, "What you doing, Lucifer?" He's like, "Nah, nothing, just going to and fro, back and forth, earth to here, just chillaxing, you know." And he's like, and what does he do? What does God do? He baits Lucifer into this conversation about Job. And he says, "What do you think about my guy there? What a guy, huh? It's fantastic." He's proud of him. He's bragging on Job to Satan. And Satan says, "Yeah, he's really happy because you give him everything." Why wouldn't he be? He's got it all. Take it all from him then. Don't kill him, but you can take it all from him. And I will show you that he will not curse me. He might question me, but he will not curse me. And so he does. He takes everything from Job. Why does this happen? Did God destroy Job? The answer is no. Satan did that. Satan did it as a challenge, and God did it as proof of who you are. And I say that all the time. Who you are is paramount. And who you are, when bad things happen to you, the most catastrophic things, hurricanes, your house is tore up, all these terrible things are happening to you. It's because God's bragging about you. He loves you and he's bragging about you. And Satan's like, yeah, yeah. I mean, if I do this to that person, they'll turn on you, but we don't. Satan can't understand. He does not understand. And I think that in light of what Dr. Berry was explaining, and of course, this is my take on it, my understanding, and the fact that Dr. Berry is going through a lot of stuff right now, helping a lot of people. The guy's doing fantastic with what he's doing. There are a lot of people out here are, not just him. And so the, somebody posed that question to Dr. Berry, and he answered it. And my I like to get down to the base of things, the very bottom of things. We can all see surface, but I like to get down to the very bottom. And the very bottom of that conversation that God had with Lucifer about Job was he was proud of him. And I'll prove it to you. Go ahead and destroy him, but don't kill him. And when something bad happens to you, God Almighty is bragging about you. That should give you comfort. All right, let me see what everyone's saying. We've got 329 here. I'm about to start the video. All right, YouTube B. Hi, Melanie. How you doing? Yeah, I know. I just started saying that years ago and just kind of stuck. God did it as proof of who you are. Bad things are happening to you, terrible things around you, things you can't explain because you love God. You're searching for God to come back. You're a Christian. Not that you've done everything right, that Jesus has done everything right. You're covered with the blood. You know you're saved, and something terrifying happens. God was bragging about you to Lucifer. That's what he was doing. Dr. Berry was correct. Yeah, I heard that hit piece on him, which really annoyed me. It always does. It probably shouldn't, but Dr. Berry, I won't call him a saint. He's a human like the rest of us, but Dr. Berry was tired. He's been going through it, you know. Yeah, Rock Island did put out a very good video. We have a little bit of a difference of opinion of when these things happen and the way he counts, but again, that's what it's all about. I get all kinds of math in here. Everybody has math, and that's God talking to you, you know. He's finally on the danger. It's finally on the danger page. Is it down? No, it looks like it's working on my end. Yeah. All right. He took my husband. Yeah, yeah. All glory to God. All the bad things are happening to you. Dr. Barry is not wrong. You have to listen closely to what Dr. Berry said. He was not wrong. God is, and he said it, ultimately in charge. God is ultimately in control, but all these bad things happening, God is not striking you down. He was bragging on you, and Satan said, let me strike him down. And God said, go ahead. That's exactly what Dr. Berry said. It's back, and it's down. Sorry, I don't know. It seems to be working fine on my end. Let me move around a little bit so I can see. Yeah, it's working fine. All right. He gives me a zip code 32708. Where's that at? I don't know where 32708 is. I know most zip codes in Florida because of the repossessions that I used to do. 1024. You like that? October 24th. Huh. Dr. Bones is a good guy. All right, I'm going to play what the audio that didn't show up this morning. I'm going to monitor the chat. I'm going to have my notepad with me. And during the video, of course, we want to gear it towards what we're speaking of and all this. I mean, talking about Dr. Barry's great and all that, but we kind of want to gear it towards the conversation on the video. And if you have a question, please write the word question first because this thing's flying by. Sister Sandy, if you could slow this down, a little bit. Brett's wrong. This guys, they had the live they had last time was hilarious. David and Brett were comically going at it. It was funny. So um, just put the word question, and I'm going to write the question down and see if I can answer the question. Again, I'm very calendar based Christian, where I went into the Bible and I researched out every date that I could ever find and put it on a time. I've been doing it for 20, 30 years now. I've been doing it for a long time, and no other timeline worked. Thank you for slowing that down. Um, I'm out is in here. Hi, I'm out. How you been? He's in all of these too. So just again, I my timeline confuses people, and that's okay. It doesn't have to make sense to you. However, when if I can show you the timeline and you go into the Bible, and if you're like that, your mentality is like that, where you search out dates and stuff, and it does in fact land perfectly. Like Noah's flood, I have down. Like my daughter would say, it's on fleek. I have no idea what that means, but that's what she says. So, all right, all right, I'm gonna play this now. My cursor disappeared. There we go. All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64. Now, can you guys hear the video? Guess I should have cleared my throat before I started. We are barreling down on the day that Noah enters the ark on October the 24th at nightfall. And how do you bring the Jews to jealousy if it's a date that they're not really looking at, unless they change the calendar? Satan thought to change the calendars, God allowed. Well, I hope that doesn't happen. What's that all about? It started all over again. All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64. Guess I should have cleared my throat before I started. We are barreling down on the day that Noah enters the ark on October the 24th at nightfall. And how do you bring the Jews to jealousy if it's a date that they're not really looking at, unless they change the calendar? Satan thought to change the calendars, God allowed him to do so. This all transpired 400 years before BC, when they decided they were going to look at the sliver new moon or the full moon or whatever moon they wanted to look at. And so we fast forward to today, and they are actually viewing tabernacles as being the the last day of tabernacles. Shemini Atzeret is also the day that Noah entered the ark. Now, I found something, and I'll show this to you right now mathematically how it works out, and it's awesome. I think we're going home here very soon. Let's see in the pictures. Where do we start? Let's see here. Waves and seas roaring. We've determined that possibly the waves and seas roaring have something to do with the multitude of many people. I showed you that you can determine what day it is. For example, they're saying that October the 31st down at the bottom has 10 hours and 55 minutes in it. It will always have 10 hours and 55 minutes in it, no matter what you change the calendar to. The day the flood occurred is the day that has 10 hours and 55 minutes in it. So what catches my attention, of course, is October the 22nd, the day that has 11 hours and 11 minutes of daylight. I thought that was very interesting. Now, if we say that Noah enters the ark in the evening of October the 24th, and we count back 3 days, 3.5 days, 84 hours, we land on the 21st. After 2 days, and on the third day is the 22nd, the 23rd, and then the 24th is the third day. So there is this mirror. We have, the Bible tells us there's a mirror. The Bible tells us this now is the head of your year. The mirror to everything, and of course I showed you this before, that it doesn't change. This is 600 years from now. It doesn't change. I don't care what date they apply to it. We will always know that the flood began on the day that has 10 hours and 55 minutes in it. Now, we know the mirror effect of this is because Jesus was born on tabernacles, and he was circumcised and named on uh, Shemini Atzeretz. Israel was attacked right here. And of course, I have that 1 day out problem that I'm always going to have with the Gregorian calendar because there's 365 days in it. And the Essene Enochian calendar have 364. So I will always be, and I think that's why God says you don't know the day or the hour, because we simply just can't. We can't match up the two calendars. From God's perspective, there are 364 days because the earth spins and returns to its original position exactly 364 days later, which is the one spin of the planet, does it 364 times, and it returns back to its original position after 364 days. However, in order to keep high noon, they had to readjust and view the sun. We view the sun. Man views the sun in order to keep our days straight, but God views it from that star. And so therefore we have 365 and a quarter days. Now, we know the mirror effect because if Jesus was born here, if we go up here, we will see that Jesus was crucified here, but on the 15th is the day that they left Egypt. So the head of the year, March 17th. Then we have the meal with Mary and Lazarus on March 24th. And then we show the Jews leaving Egypt on Nisan 15th. And then the same type of mirror events, the head of the year, September the 15th, Tishri 1. And then we go down 4 weeks later, 1, 2, 3, 21 days later, and Jesus' name is circumcised. Now, what catches my attention is, let me jump back and forth so that we can keep up with this. The evening of October the 16th, the 17th, all the way through the 23rd, at nightfall, becoming the 24th, this is Tabernacles, which includes Shemini Atzeretz. So I did a little calculations here. Remember that day that's 11/11, Heshvan 8, which means 88. Heshvan is the 8th month of the Enochian calendar. It is the 2nd month of the current calendar. So 88 jumps out at me. A lot of people are looking at Back to the Future. That 88 keeps jumping up. October the 22nd. It is the 220th day of the year when we start the year on March 17th. We go forward. Remember, Mary has to perform a ceremony after 7 days. Now, the timelines don't match because the Jews are 17 days behind. So this stuff already happened. However, like I said, Satan got involved with calendars, and the calendars are now off this year. Every year changes. Nothing matches except for the fact that this year they will view tabernacles on October the 17th, like I just showed you. Nightfall of the 16th, the 17th, the first day of tabernacles, Shemini Atzeretz, up to the 23rd, which is 7 days, and the great eighth day, Shemini Atzeretz. It is the 222nd day of the year. That's pretty incredible. Now, on tabernacles, what the Jews are calling tabernacles now, I wrote in red there what the Jews are calling. The the Al-Aqsa flood, perpetrated by Yahya Sinwar, started on October the 7th. How big of a coincidence is it that Sinwar is killed exactly 1 year and 10 days later? How big of a coincidence is it that the flood begins on October the 31st and 1 year, oops, let me go back to the other thing, and 1 year and 10 days later on Heshvan 27, and there I put the extra day there because still not sure where to apply it. Noah exits the ark into a brand new world. 1 year and 10 days goes out of the ark on that day. So we come back over here. Sinwar is killed on the 16th at nightfall, the 17th. 1 year and 10 days, perfectly. Now, what are we missing? If God told him the flood will begin in 1 week on October the 31st, and you will be in that ark for 1 year and 10 days, what's missing? The 7 day warning. It's mirrored. It's perfectly mirrored. From October the 17th to October the 24th is 7 days. It's perfectly mirrored. What happens on that day on the Enoch timeline? That's the day that Noah goes into the ark, sits there with the door open, and he waits. And 1 week later, God shut the door on October the 31st. The door is shut. No one else can come in. Will we see some kind of an event 3.5 days earlier? Remember Heshvan 8, the day that has 11 hours and 11 minutes in it, the 220th day of the year, October 22nd. The day prior to that would be exactly, now if the flood starts over here, if he's told to go in the ark at nightfall on 24th, that means at morning time, right there where the one is in yellow, that would be morning time on Heshvan 10. So we go back 3 days because we have 84 hours to contend with. Jesus was in the grave for 84 hours. His penalty was paid. He was leading captivity captive. I have to word that properly. The penalty was paid at the cross. It was done when he said it is finished. It is finished. But there was still he had to still go get um, the people out of Hades. So he went to Hades for 84 hours. But as we see in Jonah, he was in the belly of the whale for 3 days. I say he was in there for 3.5 days. Exactly, because at nightfall is when they threw him into the water and he was spit out up on shore at some morning to go into Nineveh. So, 3.5 days prior to uh, this date here, again, will fall on October the 21st. Remember, at morning time, morning time, morning time, and morning time on Heshvan 7, October the 21st, the 219th day of the year, are we going to see something? These things, as we've seen and noticed, is we actually don't pick up on them until they happen. Like Sinwar. Did we actually realize that Sinwar perpetrated the Alaska flood and exactly 1 year and 10 days later, they killed him? Did we actually I didn't realize it until I was sitting here looking at the timeline going, all right, what's going on? Where are we at? How far are we? And then I realized that and I said, wait a second. He died. He was killed right there, October 17th, exactly 1 week before. Talk about a big sign. And then 7 more days we wait. Why? Because Noah waited 7 days from the 24th to the 31st. The 150, I'm sorry, the 1 year and 10 days are completed as of October the 17th because Israel was invaded on October the 7th, 1 year and 10 days ago. And then we wait those 7 days. It was in reverse. It was mirrored to Noah. Now, let's go forward here. This is where I recognized it. I sent this to Isaiah 53's YouTube. We have a little chat that we talk in, and Noah was on the ark for 1 year and 10 days. The Alaska, I spelled it wrong, of course. Flood began on October the 7th, 2023. 1 year and 10 days later, they killed Sinwar, the perpetrator of the Alaska flood. The one that started the flood. This looks like a 7 day warning to something huge, to October the 24th. So here we are. That's how you actually spell it, Al-Aqsa. That keeps happening. Again, remember, October the 22nd is the day that we'll always have 11 hours and 11 minutes of daylight. Has God been pointing us to October the 22nd as being something huge happening. I would think it would happen on the 21st in the morning, but then after 2 days, and on the third day, I will raise him. It sounds to me like possibly the rapture will happen on October the 24th. The number 222, remember, October the 24th is the 222nd day of the year, the day that Noah went into the ark. In the Bible, the number 22 has multiple meanings, including faithful witness, wisdom, signs, miracles, and wonders. Uriel. The Strong's Concordance, the number 222 corresponds with Uriel, the name that means flame of God. So some people believe that seeing the number 222 is a sign from the Lord and that God will validate people with signs, miracles, and wonders. And of course, the Bible says they will dream dreams and have visions. Israel is God's timepiece in these end times through which we can see God's prophetic clock counting down each day to the return of Jesus Christ, her Messiah. Israel is also the fig tree that Jesus speaks about in Matthew 24. And although nobody can know the hour of his return, we can sense the season. And I agree with this. Are we going to say on the 24th at this exact time the rapture is going to occur? We can't even come to a conclusion or an agreement of when nightfall actually is. Is it nightfall? Is it civil nightfall? Is it twilight? Which exactly is it? So we can't really know the hour and we can't really know the day because the Gregorian, the mankind's calendar, the one that moves the earth back to the sun to keep high noon, is not the same calendar that God is using of the 364, because his perspective is from way, way out. He sees the earth spinning. He knows it spins 364 times and returns to the same exact spot 364 days later, but we don't. We need the sun to be high noon every single day. So it's mankind and God's ways, like the Bible says. And I watched a video or read something somewhere. I think it was a video on Facebook where it said, if you if you think you understand God, you haven't understood anything. Because God guarantees that his ways are not our ways. We might be out here trying to figure this out every single day, looking at this scenario, this mathematical equation, and that one, and just signs and everything that we're seeing. And they have increased exponentially as of late, but we still can't get into the mind of God. And that's why his day will be his day, and it will be a day that will shock us. I don't care if you're watching, the second you disappear and reappear in heaven in a brand new body, you're going to be like, whoa, you're going to be shocked. It's going to be an incredible day, but you're watching for it. You're looking for it. You're desiring it. You can't think of anything other than that moment. There's nothing here that you want. That's the day that you're dreaming of. So I noticed another mathematical thing here. Let me see, which one was it? I think it was Heshbon 3, Heshbon 10, Heshbon 17. This mirrors, what did this mirror? I noticed this as well this morning when I was looking. Maybe that's not it. Let's see here. Let's see. Is that it? April 10th. So Jesus rises at 3 a.m. on April the 3rd. On April the 10th, he performs the wave sheaf offering on our behalf in heaven. He waits 7 days. He performs it on the self same day. The self same day means that it's 1 week later. And then he sees Thomas in the upper room. And then 1 week later, remember, They could not fish on the Sabbath. This is the Sabbath. They couldn't fish on the Sabbath, but they went out at sunset right here on the 31st. And here, no, I'm sorry, the 31st day of the year, on April 16th, IR1, Sabbath. But here, they were out all night fishing. They couldn't catch anything. Jesus said, cast your net on the other side of the boat. Look at the dates there, 3, 10, 7. And then let's go back here where we were. Where were we? Here. Heshvan 3, Sinwar is killed. Heshvan 10 um, is the Shemini Atzeret. It's the day that Noah is told by God to get into the ark and sit there. Heshvan 17, October 31st at sunset is when the flood begins. We have a 3, a 10, and a 7. Come back up here. We have April 3rd, April 10th, April 17th. This just, the odds on something like that happening are astronomical. Jesus rises, Sinwar dies. The wave sheaf offering, Thomas in the upper room, the same day that Noah goes in, as a mirror goes into the ark, 3, 10, 17, catching of the 153 fish, 17. The day the flood begins, the day Noah is protected inside the ark, the day the ark door was shut, the day that the ark began to rise. Now, I heard Brenda Weltner and I've heard a few other channels pick up on it a little bit, state that, and I don't know the validity of this, not my strength of research, in that we will be changed and we will either stay here or go to Jerusalem, or something spectacular will happen to us on the day that Noah goes into the ark on 10, Heshvan 10, the 222nd day of the year. And then 1 week later, we stay here. And the only reason I kind of believe in that is because, again, back this points the 3, the 10, the 17, Sinwar dies, the ark, Noah goes inside the ark and sits 7 days in advance. Heshvan 17, the flood begins. We go back up here. Where was I? I got lost. Hold on a second. Oh, it was right there. I thought I had more color on that. So the third, Sinwar dies. Jesus does not perform the wave sheaf offering on that day. No one hears from Jesus until he appears to Thomas in the upper room. He has gone to heaven. He has to sit and wait for 7 days because he's just come out of a grave. He is the king. He is the high priest. He is everything. But he has made rules that he himself, of course, will not break. So in that 3, 10, 17, Jesus on April the 10th performs a wave sheaf offering on our behalf. This is a perfect mirror event. 3, 10, 17, and then come back. So come back to over here, and we see Heshvan 3, Sinwar dies, Heshvan 10. We are changed. Heshvan 17. We wait for a week, and then we are lifted up. So that's the the thing that I found I thought was very interesting. Um, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Barry. You are an inspiration to all of us. You're tired. I could see it on your face in your last video. And it's an amazing job you're doing up there. I think it said North Carolina, South Carolina, where that hurricane went through. Um, we're not we're not here to give you accolades for doing what any human being should do. But you still came on and made a video for us, and it was an amazing video. And I concur with that video when you say that God is not in control. You are 100% correct to an extent. And you did quantify this when you were speaking. You did say that ultimately God is in control, and He is. And we only have to look at the life of Job to know that. God baited Satan. God baited Satan into that conversation about Job. God knew. You don't think God knew? God knows everything. God knew. There's another earthquake. God knew that that Satan would say because he knows everything. He's all knowing. Did you don't God baited him into this conversation. God did not go down and smite Job. God allowed Satan to do it. Did Job deserve that? Does it matter? It's to God's good pleasure. God is ultimately in control, but did God smite Job? No. Satan did, but God allowed it. Bad things happen in your life? God's allowing this to happen. Isn't that awesome? I know it's not easy to go through. I get that. What just happened in North Carolina, South Carolina that Dr. Barry's working so hard on, I get that. That's hard. But God's working in you. There's something that He wants to teach you, and you should be glorifying God even in the hard times. Job did not turn against God. He did not curse God. He did not say, I don't believe in you anymore now that you've stopped giving me stuff. He didn't say that. He questioned. We are all questioning. You have a right to question. You even have a right to get mad at God. Yeah, you do. If you don't get mad at God for things that happen, are you really walking with Him? Are you really trying to know Him? So, yes, Dr. Barry is completely correct. I love that last video. In the middle of the nightmare that he's going through, Dr. Barry still came out and gave us a video and another teaching. And I thank God for Dr. Barry. And I think we all should, you know, at least put a comment in that last video, say thank you for everything you've done, Dr. Barry. If you disagree with what he said, uh, God is in control. And he did say that. He said ultimately God is in control. But God's not sitting here smiting you, hurting you. He is allowing Satan to do it. And that's when you should say to yourself, you should put yourself in Job's place. That means God was sitting in heaven talking about you to Satan. And Satan says, yeah, yeah, yeah. They have good health, money, they're doing great. Nothing terrible's happening to them. And God's like, well, He has all that stuff because He believes in me. And Satan says, no, He believes in you because He has all that stuff. It's a dichotomy. And if you think Job is the only one that went through that, you don't know God. Get to know God. We're all going through that. Every single one of us are going through something huge right now, making our hearts race, concerned, wanting this rapture so bad now because we just can't hang on for 5 more minutes. And at the end of the day, when you get to heaven and God says, "Hey, how you doing?" Yeah, I was talking with Satan about you, and I was telling him how fantastic you are and how faithful you are. And he challenged me. He said, "No, he's only faithful because you've given him stuff." And I took it all. I let him take it all from you. I let him bring you down to your knees. And the entire time he did that to you, I was so proud of how you didn't turn on me. You stayed with me. You questioned, and that upset him a little bit with Job. He did say, "Who are you to ask me?" But he did not lose faith. And that's what the lesson here is. Stay strong. Satan's after you. That's a good thing because God is talking about you in heaven. Go to a quiet place by yourself. Nobody needs to know, and you don't need to tell anybody. And accept the Lord into your heart. We are going home. All right, let's see. How do I get back the camera? There I am. All right. So, I didn't see a lot of questions in there. Does anybody have any questions? What we're looking at, and I really forgot to download Sister Sandy's image of the timeline. So on here, it'll be a small square because I took it off my phone. So I don't have a fresh one, and I don't know how to, I really don't know how to get it except in Discord, which I don't want to open up Discord on here. So I don't know how to open it. So I'll have to do it from from here. Let's see here. Now my pictures aren't showing up. So yeah, there you go. That's Dr. Barry's. Let me see here. Where's the time? Here's the timeline. And unfortunately, it's It's small. Does that take up the screen for everybody? I think. Okay, so at sunset on the 24th, right here, the 222nd day, going into the 25th, is when I believe Noah entered the ark during this day. He had the entire day to enter this ark. In yet 7 days, the flood will begin. That is exclusive. Inclusive would be 8 days. The flood begins at nightfall on October the 31st, going into November the 1st. Almost every culture around the planet recognizes October the 31st and November the 1st. And the reason they do is because prior to us having our languages confused and being moved out, finding our own, there are 7 root languages on the face of the earth. From there, they've expanded into hundreds, if not thousands, of languages. But there are 7 root languages that God made at the Tower of Babel. So prior to the Tower of Babel, every single person knew the date that this catastrophic event happened. And if you look, um, yes, I do. That's what we are leaving this year. I believe that we are leaving this year. So anyway, every culture recognizes this October the 31st as being a bad day, an ominous day, and November the 1st, All Saints Day, is for the Latinos. They believe that this is called Dia de los Muertos. So this is every culture recognizes this, and if everybody would simply take this date and begin their count, just like in the days of Noah, and go forward back, you would wind up with this timeline, which what you would wind up with. So let's call it the evening of the 222nd day of the year, the morning of the 222nd day of the year, the morning of Heshvan 9, the morning of Heshvan 8, and the morning of Heshvan 7. I think at some point on October the 21st in the morning, if we're even close to being accurate, something huge is going to happen, perhaps to give us a warning, or we'll just be changed on this day, on October the 24th, the day Noah went into the ark, 222nd day of the year. Let's see here. How's everybody doing? That's a question. Good. Thank you. Let me see if I can put this back up. There we go. Not that anybody wants to see me. 60 years old. Well, I turn 60 next month, so yay, me. Things are starting to break down. You had an 88 Ford Escort. That's not a question. Does anybody have any questions? My chat is lagging for some reason, and then they all jump up there at the same time. I do believe so. Yes, ironically, December 25th, Rosh Hashanah for the Jews. They're 17 days off. They're going to call right down here. They're going to call this December the 25th, which is the day Jesus was conceived, and they're going to call this uh, as the day of Hanukkah, December the 25th, because they are 17 days off. So let's see. Still think we're going at the end of the year? I don't think so. I don't think that the Gregorian calendar uh, lines up with much of anything except for the important days. Oh, does it, Brett? Yeah, it's in every culture. From what I did a little research on that. Some of them are looking at, they're a few days off. They're looking at November the 4th or something. It's not very far away. Thank you, Ben Sherman. You're my new favoriteest person. Um, I don't know the rapture day. I'm going to give you a high watch day. I'm going to give you a high watch day of October the 24th right here. I think it's possible that we will see something occur on October the 24th. I don't know if I can enlarge that on this day here. And more confirmation might come through on the morning of October the 21st. And then after 2 days, and then the third day, he will raise us up. So I don't know if I don't know if Brenda Weltner's even right. Um, yeah, I've listened to Brenda Weltner, some of the stuff she does. So I've used the 99-year-old hip. Yeah, I think that we were all placed here at a time such as this. So, yeah, I watched day, October the 24th, the 222nd day of the year, and Heshvan 10. And then we go back here to the morning of the 21st, perhaps an 84-hour warning, and then 1 and 2 days. Notice this is 8-8. October the 22nd is very unique. On this day, there will be 11 hours and 11 minutes in it. So 11:11 just jumped out at me. And that's something that anyone can go look at. Let me see if I can find it. Should be down here somewhere. How did I miss it? Look at me. There I am. Let's see here. I don't know what it was before. Okay. So what catches my attention when you go to time and date, this is they're pretty close, they're pretty accurate. On the 22nd, there are 11 hours and 11 minutes in it. We've all seen this 11:11, and that would be the first day, and it would be the 22nd in Israel. So that would be the first day. So are we going to get a warning around this time right here on the 22nd? Because we've all seen this 11:11 like constantly. I still see it nonstop. You know, I have it there. That happened on the 18th. I have it here. That happened on the 19th. It just keeps happening all the time. And I swear my phone's in my pocket for hours on end, and just something tells me to pull my phone out. And there it is, 11:11. And like Brett said something very interesting that has actually been happening to me in that a lot of times when I pull my phone out, if I don't take the picture right away, and I have to go back into the phone to turn it back on to get to this screen, it's already 11:12. It's like we're at the very end of 11:11 now. Before, when I noticed this a couple years ago, I had it's like I noticed it right at the very beginning of 11. I had a lot of time to get the screen. You know, I've even put the phone back in my pocket going, that happened again. Oh, wait a minute, I want a picture of that. Pulled it back out, turned on the phone, and then took the screenshot. So let me go back to this here real quick. Yeah, they tried to bomb Netanyahu's house. So, at any rate, let me get rid of, whoops, this. On the 24th, it has 11 hours and 7 minutes in it. It never changes. 11 hour. Let's just go with the 22nd. On the 22nd, it has 11 hours and 11 minutes in it. That never ever changes. This is the year 2024. So when we go over here, let's go to 2599. Almost 600 years. That's as far as I can actually go on time and date. Almost 600 years from now, on the 22nd again, it will have 11 hours and 11 minutes in it of daylight time. So that's really mind blowing that the one constant that we have is the equal lux. The day of equal parts never changes ever. It is always the same. So where in the timeline does those who call the name of the Lord come into effect after the rapture? I don't have that on the timeline. I'm not sure. Was there a time associated with that? Uh, with that, Brett might be able to help me out with that. or David, those who call on the name of the Lord come into effect? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that question. Let me go back to, but anyway, it's really interesting that on in the year 2599, 600 years from now, this basically what you can say is that it doesn't matter to the left of the Gregorian date. On this day, that day that has 11 hours and 22 minutes in it, or even on this day, the day the flood occurred, the day that has 10 hours and 56 minutes in it, it's so close right here. And time and date's not, I don't think they're 100% accurate, but it's 10 hours and 55 minutes. But on this day, this won't be duplicated at any other point in the year. It will always have 10 hours and 55, 56 minutes in it within seconds. October the 31st, what we call now October the 31st, has 10 hours and 56 minutes. It never ever changes. Thank you, Ben. Yeah, I saw that Optimus robot that he has. Second Thessalonians is speaking to the tribulation saints. It is not speaking to the raptured bride. And I heard it teaching. I think it was Brenda Weltner that actually taught this, or was it? I don't remember if it was Brenda Weltner or if it was Wayne at We Are the Overcomers. I don't. I watch so many videos every day. I watch so much stuff every day. I don't recall who said what, but there was a conversation in there about my phone's dying, so I won't be able to see comments here in a moment. I plugged it in. Oh, it's charging. Never mind. Uh, where what we're called initially is not the bride of Christ. We're the sons of God or something. I don't know if that's a thing or not. I'm not sure, but it was an interesting study to say the least. I just don't recall who did it at this point. I don't want to put my glasses on because I look old, but I can't see the phone. See the comments. So I have to stand back here. Okay, now I can see them. It might be. I'm not sure. But anyway, Second Thessalonians. Let me get back to that. That is not speaking to the bride or the children of God or whatever our title is at the point we're raptured. First Thessalonians is at 4:17. Is speaking to us. We go. We're raptured out of here. Now the tribulation saints are standing here, and what do they see? They see this great falling away. The King James version is the only Bible that translated it as a falling away, an apostasy. Every other Bible translated it as a catching away. So, and there was a reason for that. The King James version is the most accurate, but it is not 100% accurate, copied from the original Greek and Hebrew. So, Second Thessalonians is speaking to the tribulation saints. They will. Let me go this way. Actually, they will. Be here to see the great apostasy, what the Bible says, the great falling away, the catching away. They will be here to see that, and they will be here to see the Antichrist come into power. So many people confuse Second Thessalonians enough to the point where people actually think they're looking for the Antichrist. We're not looking for the Antichrist. We're not going to see the Antichrist. We're not going to be here for that. We are going to be in heaven witnessing the very first seal being opened. No seals have been opened yet at this point. Yeah, I mean, a huge sign would be, I mean, if a huge earthquake hit, there's a tsunami, 3.5 days, that's, I don't know, we might still be here for that. We are not going to be here for just things that have been going on over the past 2,000 years. We will be here for, but I don't know about seeing that massive wall of water coming at us. We'll be here waiting for the Lord to return before something major happens, like maybe Damascus, or we don't know. We're watching and looking for it. So my chat's lagging, and then it kicks up about 15, so I know I'm missing everything. Do you think the red heifer? I do. The what do they call that? Shabbat Parah. They came out with an article about Shabbat Parah. There it goes. You just jumped. Shabbat Parah came out, and they said that Shabbat Parah of 2024 was going to be on March 30th. Well, ironically, when I saw that, of course, every single time we find that Shabbat Parah, the sacrifice of the red heifer, landed on March 30th in 2024. Yeah, I do. I really think that the reason a cow is missing is because they in fact did sacrifice that cow on March 30th. As a matter of fact, I've heard that the cows that are remaining are coming up on being too old at this point. So I'm not sure. So yeah, I watched David's lives and Brett's lives, and I thought tonight I might as well pull off a live. Can't stay out here all night. My wife's got to work early in the morning, but it has been fun, and I really do appreciate everybody showing up and listening to my explanation of what I think might be happening. So it's just I want to get back into discussing real quick Mary. Remember, if Jesus actually was born, which I think he was, born on Tabernacles, the night of September the 29th, becoming September the 30th, 7 days later, Mary would have had a ceremony after 7 days, and then it continued on for 33 days. And this is where Mary would have been clean after 40 days. It would have been November the 7th, November the 8th. Again, the Gregorian calendar, it's so hard to match them up. I don't know exactly what day. I asked Sister Sandy to move the extra day right here. I don't have a choice because the Enoch, the Essene calendar has 364 days and the Gregorian has 365. So I have to place a day somewhere to make it all make sense. And it never really does. They never really find the correct day. All right, what do we got? No seals will be open till the entire street. Correct. When we go home, as spoken of in First Thessalonians, and as in Revelation, we will be standing there when the first seal, we will be witnessing John crying because nobody can touch the seals, the scroll of the seals. Nobody can come anywhere near it, and he's upset because I think he wants. I'm not sure why he's upset, but he's upset that it can't be open. Is Heather in here? Heather has a wonderful YouTube channel that I listen to when she does her lives. So many awesome people in here. Yeah, I know. I got to get inside. Happy wife. Happy wife. My wife's awesome. I mean, she's fantastic. She does not, she doesn't think this is crazy at all, which is weird. All right, let's see amount of time. Yeah, the 20, I think it's the 22nd. I believe the 22nd has 11 hours and 11 minutes in it. That's the 22nd, not the 24th. Your birthday is 9/30. That's interesting. You were born on the day Jesus was born. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I don't know. We're right here. I really think that we're looking at something, and one of the reasons is because I mean, think about it. Sinwar perpetrated this massacre against Israel um, on October the 7th. 1 year and 10 days later, on October the 17th, they killed him. He started it. They ended it. And here we are, Noah's flood. He's on the ark for 1 year and 10 days to Heshvan 17 from Heshvan 27 from Heshvan 17. I always wondered why God had him on there for those extra 10 days. There's a few reasons that I could see. during that period of time why he might have done that. But then when Sinwar, it came out that on the 16th at nightfall, 17th, Sinwar was killed. I said, now wait a second, that's too crazy. And what happens 7 days later? Noah goes into the ark door. That's that's a huge sign. That's something God's pointing to us. Sinwar could have been killed 3 days ago. Why was he killed exactly 1 year and 10 days after the Alaska flood was started? All right, my wife thought she's my wife's been dealing with this since she married me. When she first married me, I had a big piece of paper on the wall 20 years ago, and I was trying to figure out when the rapture was going to occur. And every day I drove first I drove semi tankers for I hauled propane from Fort Lauderdale, Port Everglades down to Key West, and I went back and forth hauling propane, and then I started hauling the U.S. mail, driving semi, and and then after that, when I married my wife, we started this business of repossession shortly thereafter. But on the wall, I had this huge piece of paper, and I would listen to everything. This is before we had internet. I mean, I literally had one of the first flip phones, and I know I was getting irradiated from that goofy thing, but this was a long time ago. And I would come home, I would write dates on pieces of paper and come home and then write them on that paper on the wall in the bedroom that I had hung up. And at first, I don't think she ever thought I was crazy. Maybe she didn't say, but she didn't seem to have a problem with it. She doesn't help me. She doesn't do a lot of studying with me, but she doesn't interfere either. So yeah, the gap theory. I don't know. I don't know. I think the rapture actually causes a catastrophic event. I really do. You know, I think the rapture itself causes that catastrophic event to happen. So I got to put on my glasses. Sorry, I look old. These are Walmart $5 glasses, 1.5, or is it 150? What it is, 150, I think, just so I can see. I had the LASIK done. I can drive just fine. I just can't read. It's like waiting for Santa. Yeah, I'm just reading here, and my thing gets hung up, and then 30 go by, and I can't keep up with the chat. There we go. Yeah, I don't think there's a gap. Look, and I've said this for a couple years now. I've read and read and read, and everywhere I read, we see John standing there, and John cries because the seals can't be opened. And then one of the elders, us, says, "John, what's wrong?" And he's like, or they don't say that. He sees that the lamb shows up, and then you see this elder going, "Hey, look over here at that seal. Look over here at that seal. Look over here at that seal." And he gets to seal 6, and he questions him, "Hey, who are these people?" And John's like, "I don't know. I'm not from here. You're from here." It seems to me that it's really fast. It doesn't seem to me like I really think that when the tribulation saints see this wall of water coming at them or nuclear bombs dropping, I really believe that they're going to drop straight to their knees, and that's the only requirement is that, and and you're not going to like to hear this, tribulation saints. Your only requirement is to accept Jesus and die. You don't go to heaven alive. The only group that goes to heaven alive is the bride. That's why we're here yelling at every single day. We see the comedy going on in the chat room, and that's fine. Comedy is good, but sometimes you got to take this seriously. There's not much time left, and you got to shed off everything else, and it's Jesus and Jesus alone. There is nothing else. This YouTube video that I'm making means nothing. It means nothing at all unless you actually go to a place and accept the Lord into your heart. And I hear this predestination thing lately, and it's kind of driving me nuts. They're trying to say that you don't have a choice, but then on the other breath, they're saying that you have to. You have to choose God. And I don't understand what you're saying. God doesn't want a heaven full of robots. He wants a heaven full of people that made a clear, conscious choice that they want to go with Him. There's a world full of people that don't want Him. They don't want to hear about Him. I talk to people every single day, Jesus, and the face just drop the second you say Jesus. They don't want to hear about Him. But when they heard me say something about the rapture's about to occur, this and that, when it does, and they hear that a bunch of people disappeared and it was aliens, they're gonna be like, no, 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 wait a minute. I know what just happened because somebody told me, and that's super important. And how long afterwards do you think it's going to take when a nuclear bomb, when they say a nuclear bomb's incoming, it's going to hit your city and you can't run fast enough. You can't get out of the way. You are going to die. What do you think you're going to do at that point? You're going to kneel down, accept Christ, or you're going to be hard-headed and not believe any of it. And if somebody had said to that person, if you see me go, if you see this rapture occur, you have but a short time to accept the Lord. But the Bible's really clear. It basically says you'll lose your head. You're going to die. It talks about, you know, just terrible events that take place, but, you will have to die to go to heaven. Yeah, I watched Dr. Chris Zimmer's. I love the way he presents his videos. I love I love all the videos. I don't have to agree with them to listen to the underlying message that David has, that Brett has, that everybody has, and that underlying message is Jesus is what saves you. Knowing this stuff doesn't save you whatsoever. Knowing this stuff is irrelevant. But why we're doing it is because we want to get closer to God. We want to learn about Him. God does want everyone to go to heaven. And that's why this predestination thing that they're saying, it says it, but you're not understanding it. God loves every single human being. We all carry that DNA that He created, but He doesn't want a heaven full of people that don't want to be there. He wants you to make a clear, conscious choice. So predestination is a word used that God knew who would choose Him. He knew. Yeah. I mean, out of all the studying and the math and everything I do, yes, that's the underlying. And when I talk to people, I don't hit them with this stuff. People that don't know anything about Jesus, I just tell them, you're going to see an event take place. I want you to know it was a rapture. That's all I do. Yes, every knee will bow. They certainly will. And I think David said he might agree with me that I don't think the tribulation saints are going to show up in heaven just because of how quick the story goes. Just like when Jacob married Rachel or Leah and then Rachel. It was 7 days. It was 7 days later he got. Now he had to continue on for 7 years, just like the tribulation. But he got Rachel. We know he got her because she was barren. How did he know that? He wasn't having premarital, relations with Rachel. He knew she was barren because he was married to her. He married her after he gave Leah her 7 days. And I see that right here from October the 24th to October the 31st, when judgment on the planet really kicks off. There might be a 1 week thing going on here. We go into the ark. Jesus, remember Jesus, I'm going to disappear again, but remember Jesus when He rose right here. Jesus rises here on April the 3rd. Let's say He rises here on Nissan 17, right? He rises very early in the morning. On a Sunday, He rises, which turns out to be, on a Sunday, turns out to be Nissan 18. We know this is accurate because Jesus went to the cross on a Wednesday. We know this is accurate because the Bible says the ark rested 150 days after, or sorry, 153 days after um, it began to rain. So here we have Jesus rising, but Jesus went to heaven on this day. He went to heaven on this day And a week later, he performs the wave sheaf offering. He cannot perform the wave sheaf offering on this day. We don't hear anything about Jesus from this point up till this point, 7 days later. There's a 7 day gap because Jesus has to sit on the side. He was in a grave. He's the high priest. He's the one that wrote the law. He wrote the law, and he said that if a priest goes near a graveyard, they have to be cleansed for 7 days and stay without. Here is when he did the wave sheaf offering 1 week later. Thomas in the upper room is when he does the wave sheaf offering in the morning. He shows up, and the Bible records that the day was well spent. He shows up to Thomas in the upper room in the afternoon. He does this on April the 10th. There's those 7 days. Those 7 days keep popping up, you know? Thank you. Of course not. They're not. Yeah, okay. I can promise you that there are people in the Catholic Church right now. I grew up. Oh, Spinebreaker's in here. I grew up a Catholic. And when I was a child, I've been hard headed for a long time because when I was a child and I went into the confessional and he says, I need you to say 5 Hail Marys and 1 Our Father, or 10 Hail Marys and 2 Our Father. And I questioned why, and I did. I questioned, why would I pray to Mary 5 times more than I would pray? And any Catholics out there know that you pray 5 times to Mary and 1 time to God. 5 times to Mary, 1 time to God. Somebody out there is going to agree with me that that's actually true. So I question, why would I pray to Mary and not just to God? I know that Mary was really important. She was chosen above all women, but why would I pray to her? And the priest got mad at me. But when I went out to pray, and everybody else had their rosary, I wouldn't carry that thing. Even as a child, I knew there was something wrong with it. It didn't make me feel right. But when I would go out and pray, I kept asking myself, and I would pray the prayer to Mary, and I said, man, this does not feel right. So I would just pray the Our Father. So I had so many issues with the Catholic Church. I got into an argument with a nun because she said you can get remarried after 10 years. I'm like, where's that written at in the Bible? It's not written in there, but we said you can. I'm like, how are you gonna make up laws and rules where it's not written in the Bible? It has to be written in the Bible. How are you gonna change it? So I've been, even as a kid, recognized that there was something wrong with the Catholic Church. I don't know who's under the altar. That's a good question. I think the 144,000 are the children that died for the word of God. It says they died for the word of God. Jesus is the word. They were innocent. They all perished 2 years and under from, uh, and if you read it, it says, and from all the coasts thereof. So it was all of the tribes, 12,000 in each tribe, 144,000. I think they're in heaven. I think they're in heaven. They're going to be changed up there. We're going to be changed down here. We're going to hang out here for 7 days, and they're going to come down here, and they've got work to do. They'll be unkillable. You can't harm them because they are sealed. As a matter of fact, I think that John is written to the 144,000, and you'll notice the color of the robe that we get is brilliant white. That's written in Luke. But in John and in Mark, the robe is purple. The robe's purple. Why is the robe purple for the 144,000? I think it's because they're coming down here when the saints are raptured, and their rapture, not there will be, call it a rapture, they will be gathered, they will be taken after they die to heaven. They will appear in heaven, and then the angel will be like, who are these people? These people are carrying palm branches. They had to, read on down further, they had to wash their robes white in the blood of the Lamb. They had work to do. They could not accept the mark. They had work to do during the tribulation. How long were they here? I don't know. Maybe it is a year and 10 days. I don't know how long. Maybe it's 7 days. I'm not sure. But the 144,000 have the same color robe spoken of in John and in Mark. Now, in Matthew, the robe is red. So God is putting them, I think the 144,000 come down perhaps as the tribulation saints go up, and I don't think that that's very long after the rapture occurs. Let's see. Baptism is not a requirement for salvation. That's I hear people saying that, and that is not having faith in God and God alone, in the finished work that Jesus did on the cross. Everything else you do is evidence. That's it. I'm not able to keep up with the comments. Hold fast to your faith. Jesus' name is faith. You hold fast to Jesus. All right. Well, I've been on here for a minute. We got the video out. It didn't sound great, but at least I got it out. I wanted you to see the math involved in all of that. I mentioned in there really quickly that we have this mirror thing taking place here. I just don't remember where it's at. Let me see. Where is it at? It matches perfectly also down here. We have 10, we have 3, 10, 17. Sinwar dies, 1 year and 10 days, Alaska flood. 10, we go inside the ark. 17, the tribulation begins. So we have 3, 10, 17. Where was that at up here? It was cool. Oh, April 3rd, April 10th, April 17th. Jesus rises after 84 hours on April the 3rd. He performs a wave sheaf offering. He sees Thomas in the upper room, doubting Thomas. This is the moment that the rapture occurs. Who's left behind? The doubters are left behind. And then, or we're just changed and taken somewhere for 7 days. And then, like I said, Jesus had to wait 7 days. I think we might have to wait 7 days. And then the catching of the 153 fish sound a lot like where these saints might be taken after 7 days. I'm not sure. And this is where tribulation would begin as well. So let's see. Sister Sandy, is she still on here? I want to put her website. If you guys want to look at this timeline, I if you see any math out of place, I would love it if you would look at this and tell me if you see anything that's not right with it, you know? So let me see here. Okay, let me do this. I think I can do this. Yeah, and then do this. Yay, there we go. All right. It looks like it's okay, it's moving. All right, YouTube Christians. I'm gonna get off here. Thank you very much for joining me in this live. It's been fun. Keep watching. I think all of us, Brett, David, myself, and everybody else, if an event occurs like an earthquake or Damascus and it happens somewhere around on the 21st, I think that we're all going to break a leg getting on here to let all of you know that it looks like this event's about to take place. We've had other high watch days for sure over the years, and I'm not, you know, I don't know when this is going to occur 100%. Not until we get, and it might just be happen on the 24th. I don't know. Um, I don't see it going past the 2024 mathematically. It just doesn't work. Israel being a nation for 80 years, backing up 3.5 years. We know they're in tribulation for those 3.5 years because the two witnesses are here. And that has to begin by November the 8th or the 11th. I don't recall. Just go to Israel being a nation for 80 years and come back 3.5. And everybody, the people that do the math on the 6,000 years, we're at it now. There's just so much math. Oh, there you are. I was wondering if you could place the website, Sister Sandy, um, on here so that if they want this timeline, they could go in. I, of course, would love anybody to go into the timeline if they see something inaccurate. And forget about the Gregorian. Really, just focus on the Hebrew dates and see if mathematically the distances are accurate. You know, Sister Sandy really years ago did an awesome thing for me. She built this other timeline, and I worked on that one for years with her. And then all of a sudden, I heard Aaron at Got a Minute say, "6 days you shall work." There it is. Hold that. Website there and go there. You can go get the timeline. But 6 days you shall work and 7 days you rest. And I have always tried to apply the Hebrew dates to the Gregorian calendar, and I kept stumbling. I could. That was the original timeline. It'll be in there as well. But then when Aaron said that, I was like, why didn't I do that years ago? Work 6 days, seventh day you rest. And I built the Hebrew timeline from Nissan 1, simple, and then I went all the way through the year, 364 days, and everything just fell into place again. Now the Hebrew dates are correct. For me, they're immovable. But the Gregorian date could be off a day when you get down around now, September, October. It really, that extra day really messes with me, and I hate that because I'm very symmetrical. Not this, but my mind when it comes to numbers, very symmetrical. And I hate it that extra day. It drives me nuts. And like I said, God's ways are not our ways. When God looks at our planet, it spins based on a star way out because God is that far out. We realign our planet with our sun that's right next to us, but that's not an accurate count. The Earth actually spins 364 times. It always has. It was never 360. They kept forgetting the four Casades, and that's in the timeline. You can see it. There's always was 364 days. There never was 360. That'll ruffle some feathers, but I can prove it. There just never was 360. They're basing that on the count that they see of 1,260 days, and it never was. That's just a count. Uh, it's still 360 days. Still falls short of 14 days every 3.5 years. 28 days every 7 years. So Lieutenant Mike. All right, YouTube. I better get off here and get inside before my wife yells. Thank you very much for joining me. I think we hit close to 800 in here at one point, but my stuff is lagging, so I don't know 100% how high we got up there. But just keep watching. If you guys see anything or find anything, just chat. Come into the Discord. I don't know if you guys use Discord. God's Land Down Under has his own room in there. He's a moderator in his own room. I go in there and look at some of the stuff he does. A lot of YouTubers. My Discord is not designed like any other Discord. I don't even run my Discord. They run it over there. They do such a fantastic job in the Discord, um, keeping people in the respective rooms. Like you wouldn't go into God's Land Down Under room and start talking about things that have nothing to do with what his videos are about. We just try to keep the discussion based on what that YouTuber has in his room. And then in there, we can go back and forth with ideas on dates and numbers and stuff. And, we have several. Who do we have in there, David? We have, or Brett. We have a lot of people. We have Revelation Watchman 777. He has some incredible timelines that he works on. We have so many people that have the room. Even Dr. Barry. Dr. Barry never visits, and that's fine. But we gave him a room, so when he makes a video, we put his video in there, and then we go into that room and discuss Dr. Barry's video, which is I like the way it's designed. I have a room. I really stay in my room mostly. The moderators deal with it with the Discord, but I pretty much stay in my room. And in my room, you can discuss just about anything. It doesn't really bother me because I like seeing everything. And then, of course, I go in there to the newsroom and look at the news. But it's getting chilly out here. It must be like 55 now. It's cold. Oh, thank you, Sister Sandy. That's the Discord. You can go join that. That's a fresh link. I think it expires after a period of time. So if you were going to join Discord, do that. And like I said, there's moderators in there that'll tell you you can do this, you can't do that. We have rooms. I think there's a flat Earth room. If you want to go in there, discuss that in that room and go prove your points. That's fantastic. There's I think we have 2,000 people in there around that. So but we don't want, look, I don't think the earth's flat, but that's fine. It's not a salvational issue. I think that if you want to discuss that and bring your points of view, I think you should have a place to do that. I really do. And I think that it's important for you to bring that forward, but in a specific place. So we try to keep everybody in a specific place to have those discussions. Remember the mark of the beast, that thing that everybody got. Oh, that's the mark of the beast. Everybody who got it's going to hell. I heard so many YouTubers saying you're going to hell because you got that. You're not redeemable. I I I can't even. I can't even. It was not the mark of the beast. It might be leading to it, but it wasn't the mark of the beast. You were categorically wrong. And even to this day, there are still a few channels that still try to state that it was, and it just wasn't. It just wasn't. That mark isn't even coming out until 3.5 years in the tribulation. You're basically saying that everybody's going to go through the 3.5 years of tribulation. So, and there are people that believe that as well, and so we have rooms for that. But anyway, let me get off of that. Let me get off of here. Thank you everybody for joining me. That was it was fun. I really do like doing the lives. I'm just not as good at it. I should probably join with Brett or David, and we can just like have a discussion. I go on to Bob's, and what is it? Departure Heaven. He holds one every Monday, and I go on there. They invite me on, and I like that type of thing where when I'm asked a question, I can answer it and then stand back and listen. Doing all the talking is not my forte, so maybe we could get together one day if the rapture doesn't happen here very shortly. And I would love to do a live with David and Brett and bring Spinebreaker in. Spinebreaker, you saw him in the chat. He don't play around. So all right. I guess I'm going to sign off. I say I never know how to say goodbye. This isn't goodbye. This is until I see you again. All right. We'll chat with you all again later. Let me see how to stop this thing. Is that it? I don't think that's it. Is this it? Oh, this is it. Stop streaming. Okay. Bye, everyone.